tell you my story now, and that taproom at Port Harcourt, you know. I got a city, a lovely place. Don't regret and to Johannesburg. I haven't got plenty money on me, but I was stranded in Port Harcourt, you know. If I happen to enter in a pub house about 20 girls around me, they say they like me, they love me, they love me, they love my beautiful voice. Please sing of a song, only song can do. Please sing of a song, only song can do. I get too many honeys and that's not what I'm looking for. I get too many lips and that's not what I'm looking for. All I want is not but plenty of money for my family. I'm not here for a pleasure trip, I'm only here for a business trip. Tell you my story now, and that happened not but a country, you know. A garden city, I love the place. Don't make my life to Johannesburg. If I happen to enter in a pub house, about 20 girls around me, say they like me, they love me, they love me, they love my beautiful voice. Please sing of a song, only song can do, my love. Please sing of a song, only song can do. Too many honeys and that's not what I'm looking for. I get too many lips and that's not what I'm looking for. All I want is not but plenty of money for my family. I'm not here for a pleasure trip, I'm only here for a business trip.
Greetings, my people. Good morning, good afternoon. It depends where you are listening from or watching from. Special greetings to you people. My brother Emasami, go to YouTube and search for My Landlady. That's old school music. Well, my people, as you can see today, I want to say something about the free trade agreement being signed in African country. I hope my voice is coming out clear. I hope you can hear me very well. Let me try to raise the volume. I don't know whether the voice is coming out clearly, but I hope it's coming out clear. Thank you. So I would like to elaborate a little bit about the free trade agreement in Africa. Um, I'll first of all congratulate African continent for agreeing on one thing to develop themselves, to establish a free trade zone within themselves before running helter-skelter to fight themselves into well already established organizations. I can really remember when Nigerian government were complaining about European Union and the Americans that the percent they gave to Africa to trade in European Union, I think the entire percent is 3%. The entire Africa are allowed to sell their product in European Union market. And Nigeria, we are complaining. And by then, I made a video trying to elaborate also on this issue that Africa is one of the largest continents in the world. And black man race should start distancing themselves from already made things, already established. Anything that is already made, people fight for it. People die for it. People invested in it. People sacrifice. My voice is still slow. You see, that's why I'm asking. And I hope it should be loud now. I think so. Can you see? I think the voice should be a little bit louder now. So yeah, I think it's loud. It's loud. I think more than enough stuff. So by that time, I was trying to talk to people, advise African countries or black race, black people like me and you, watching this program to distance themselves from already made things. Because a common black African man is used to do it for me now. Please do it now. I know you can do it. He would not like to carry the burden to do something on his own. That tomorrow he will be proud. He will be happy because of the common sense that God gave to him, that he used to achieve something for himself. Ordinary black man or African man or a Nigerian who seek for help, please, I need your support on this. When you raise the hand to help him, he will withdraw his own. And I want you to do everything for him so that he will tell you thank you. Thinking that he's smart. That is not smartness. Smartness in you is when you start creating things. When you start manufacturing. When you start establishing things. When you start leaving legacies that if you are no longer there, people will use it to remember you. For African continent, all these years since independence, I know that most of African leaders before tried this idea and they were killed by the Western world. Western world did not come to Africa to kill them. Rather, they used their brothers in Africa to tarnish their life. Today, they have come into conclusion. They have come into agreement to open a common market. Another thing we should ask ourselves, are we doing this thing just to copy what the Western worlds are doing? Or we have a strong mechanism, a strong system, a strong idea behind this trade agreement? Not only the good side, the sweet side, pack something inside container, ship them to Nigeria. Pack inside Nigeria, ship them to Kenya. Do we have, before anything called free trade agreement, there should be something called open borders. If you come to Germany today, there is, if you are traveling to Germany, they will give you German visa, but inside that visa is European visa, is Schengen visa. They call it Schengen state. With German visa, you can travel up to the end up to Romania, up to Bulgaria, up to all those Schengen states, up to those countries they have free trade agreement with. Africa, you are rushing into free trade agreement, and Nigeria and South Africa are distancing themselves on that. I will applaud retired General Muhammadu Buhari on this move. I know that Nigeria has their internal issues, but now I got to be neutral to discuss a common thing that doesn't concern our internal affairs. I will praise Nigeria for distancing themselves on this free trade agreement. If you look around the world today, look the issue in England about poison, look the issue in Russia about World Cup, look issue in United States about sanctioning Russia, look everything, look China about America placing tariff on the goods coming from China. Look, there is something they call international laws. We all knows about international laws. A common man on the street, me and you, we think international law. We must abide to international law. We must respect international laws. But most of international laws are being created for somebody's advantage. Most of international laws are being placed or signed to push the little ones into captivity. Africans are rushing to create free trade agreement. Two countries in Africa are distancing themselves, and I knows why. And like me, I have traveled a little from African countries before I traveled to Europe. The first time, let me give you an example. The reason why I'm supporting Nigeria to distance itself on this free trade agreement. First of all, for now, you may be angry, you may be insulting. Why should I be using this word, distancing themselves, for now? Before I came to Germany, I was in Cameroon. So, the time I went to Cameroon, and Cameroonians government asked me to apply for resident permit. Okay. So, I went for resident permit, and their SEDOC or whatever they call it, their police, whatever. They asked me to bring what they call laissez-passer. Those laissez-passer, I think they issued it from Nigerian embassy. Okay. I and my senior brother, we went to Nigerian embassy. First of all, in that police custody, before we came in, I saw some people shouting, brother, please come, I want to send you a message. I said, who are those? I just enter. After finishing, I come back again. They call. I wanted to go to them. My senior brother said, leave these people, come. I said, no, wait. I dey hear Nigerian broken. I said, I'm hearing Nigerian broken from these people. And they are inside cell. Policeman was looking at me. I went to the cell door and I look at them. I said, any Nigerian here? They said, all of us are Nigerians. I said, what did you people do? What happened? They said they were here because of resident permit. Because they doesn't have resident permit, Cameroonian government arrested Nigerians, jailed them as criminals. The people I'm talking of are business people. They are not criminals. Doing business in Cameroon. I know that Cameroon has their laws. That's why I said international laws. Must it be 100% respected? No. No. Because America never respect any bilateral agreement they sign with anybody. They can only respect it when it's hooking them. After they get advantage, they will pull out of it. That is how international law works. And I'm learning from those people how they do their game. In Cameroon, I found a lot of Nigerians in Cameroonian prison. Example. Now, we went to Nigerian embassy, trying to get the this laissez-passer. People packed outside. All of them are looking for laissez-passer. Embassy door closed. What is happening? People are inside. I said, which office are we supposed to attend? By that time, this activist I'm doing today, I did not start it today. It has been in my blood. You know, I didn't realize that. Do you know that? I look into the office we're supposed to attend. The worker in Nigerian embassy by then, a young boy like that, was sitting there with the girlfriend. The girl lie her leg on top of his laps, and they were joking inside office while Nigerians in strange land park outside under the sun. Some of them are under the mango tree. I think mango tree that's there. Park under the sun and waiting for this idiot to finish romancing woman before attending to them. I asked the people, which office? They said that place where that man did. Do you know that I knock on the door? They didn't react. I use stone. I break the window. I said, God punish your mother. Punish your father. You are here romancing women. People are here waiting for you for laissez-passer. And the Nigerians are jam-packed inside Cameroon prison because of ordinary laissez-passer, because of ordinary resident permit. And you, Nigeria is giving Cameroon leverage in international community, covering them in some certain level. And Cameroonians are punishing our people. The thank you we are getting for Cameroonians is jam-pack our boys inside their cell because of resident permit. He was rushed to open the door and attend. I was the last person. He forced attend to me for me to leave that premises so that I should not open my mouth. Now, let me go back to the free trade argument. Why I said Nigeria has every right to distance itself. Do you know, as a common Nigerian who have traveled around Africa, you will notice that these countries are hostile to Nigeria. All these African countries looking for Nigerian market. Because, look, my people, upon that Nigeria is third world country, let me put it the way the Westerners are calling it. Upon Nigeria is in Africa. Nigeria is second largest consuming power on planet after United States. And if Nigeria developed half, they will surpass United States in terms of consuming power. These hostile countries in Africa are now looking for a way to gain access into Nigerian market. And they are hostile countries to Nigerians. How many of them are treating Nigerians as their brothers in their country? You want free trade agreement. Move around all these African countries. Go to their prison. 80% of their people in their prisons are Nigerians. Why should we have free trade agreement with them? We shouldn't. Nigeria should not open that door. Nigeria should use what he have to negotiate his way through. If you want to get access into Nigerian market, start treating Nigeria and Nigerians in your country as your own people. Do you know what is free trade agreement? Do you know how the economy of these countries will skyrocket if they have access into Nigerian market? Nigerians are not longer buoyant enough in terms of agriculture. Most of the things Nigerians are not doing. And these guys are fully deep in agriculture, looking for where to sell their goods. And when any of them get access to South Africa or inside Nigeria, you have given them the largest thing ever that you can give to them. Do you know how many population is in Nigeria? So, rushing into free trade agreement, this is like poor man. When you tell a poor man that has nothing to lose in Nigeria, for example. Let me use that word, Nigeria, because it's my second country, because I'm no longer a full Nigerian. So, if you meet a poor man in Nigeria and said, my man, let's destroy this Nigeria ourselves. Let's divide this Nigeria. Let's partition this Nigeria, make everybody go. It's only the poor people that has nothing to lose, that did not invest anything in that country. We said, my man, it must surely be so. Nigeria must surely be divided. But those that invested in Nigeria, every corner of Nigeria will be mute looking at you as a stupid animal. That you want to, the sufferness that they have suffered for decades, you want to squash it, you want to destroy it. And inside this Africa, look at this bunch of people that rush to go and sign that agreement. All of them are the poorest countries in Africa that are looking for way out. So, my own advice to Nigerian government, you should not block this free trade agreement entirely. There are ways of doing things. African countries should come to a negotiating table with Nigeria and South Africa. And Nigeria and South Africa, now two of them have distanced themselves. Nigeria and South Africa too should form a strong alliance, two of them. It will be like the alliance of France and Germany in Europe. You know, Germany and France are the powerhouse, economic powerhouse of Europe, and Germany is the one leading everything, likewise Nigeria is the one leading Africa. They should form a very strong alliance, two of them, South Africa and Nigeria. And this alliance, two of them should draw the architect, full architect of free trade agreement. And that means this one they have already signed is their own. They can trade on their own, it's no problem. If you come to Europe, Scandinavians have their own free trade agreement within themselves. Upon they trade in Europe, and Europe, most of European countries cannot trade within Scandinavia. Scandinavia has their own free trade, European Union has their own free trade, and they have European Union in general, the entire Europe. So these countries may preserve their free trade agreement they signed, but for them to get into South Africa and Nigerian market, they got to apply for the free trade agreement in between South Africa and Nigeria. And that free trade agreement got to be the opening borders. Nigeria and South Africa should form an alliance and draft a copy the European Union method of things. Copied it, a part of AU, we have AU, yeah. But we should have something like Shanghai agreement. South Africa and Nigeria should draft a Shanghai system of a bilateral agreement that will run in Africa. In the sense that it will lead to opening borders. It will lead to alleviating or removing of these resident permits within African countries, especially French-speaking side of it, because they are the one sticking to this resident permit. And open border and made every passport to be valid in every country, and made it clear that anybody holding African country passport is allowed to resident in any part of African country without any restriction. They are allowed to open their business there as a citizen of the country. They are allowed to operate like me now. As living in Germany as a German, I may move to Swiss tomorrow and register in Swiss that I want to live in Switzerland. As a German, they will grant me everything and I will be working. I don't need extra process to acquire working permit, to acquire whatever, because I'm a citizen of European Union. You understand? Nigeria and South Africa should establish such a thing. That is the backbone, the mechanism that will alleviate the poverty in Africa. And South Africa and Nigeria should do it like German. If you come to German, everybody traveling within Europe must pass through German. German invested heavily in terms of road infrastructure. That's why anybody trying to push German around, European Union as a whole will come after you, because you are trying to touch them in their own heartbeat. That is German. And Nigeria can take that lead in the sense that Nigeria may borrow money. It will not pay you today, but it will pay you in future. Borrow money, build road from Nigeria to Cameroon. Build road from Nigeria to every neighboring country, neighboring Nigeria. And even build road beyond these countries to reach other rural countries that has no money. Connect them by road. Build railways from Nigeria to all those places. It's an investment that will not pay Nigeria today, but will pay Nigeria in time to come. Because when you are building railway that will connect from Nigeria to Cameroon, it's Nigeria that will manage it. The ticket, Nigeria will sell it. The everything, the affairs, Nigeria will manage those things. But it will help the business in Africa to grow. If the government of Nigeria, I would love to advise them more on how to implement these things, so that they will cement it and nothing will hinder it. And if Nigeria create all these networks, let me tell you the benefit of these networks. You see what happened to Libya, what happened in other parts of the world that Americans are destroying, what is happening all over the world. If Nigeria create this economic network and become help to all these African countries, all of them will now rely on Nigeria as European countries rely on German. You will be dictating what will be happening in Africa. You will have what we call foreign policy that will be ruling African countries. You will have influence in African countries. You will make Nigerians to feel at home in every part of Africa they find themselves. These countries will no longer have that leverage that their colonial masters are using to push them to be hostile to Nigeria. Those things will disappear. But South Africa and Nigeria should come together and draw out and carve out a beneficiary system, method, mechanism that will help Africa to elevate from poverty to developing country or developing nations. I know we can do it. Every raw material, everything that the world are using today to grow, all of them are being harvested in Africa. Why can't we come together and use what we have to elevate ourselves? As I just mentioned before, after United, look at Nigeria today. Nigeria is among, we may call it developing country, but they are not. They are still lying on the floor. But their consuming power have never, Nigeria may decrease in any political level you may call it, but the consuming power of Nigeria have never ever decreased since independence. That is the only thing that keep on growing since independence, the consuming power of Nigeria. And that consuming power, look at China today. Everybody is saying China is growing. China is not growing. China is making money from the Western countries that are developing their goods under cheap labor in their country. Exporting it, you will pay Chinese government. Importing it, you will pay Chinese government. They are making money both ways. But Chinese are not consuming the goods that are being manufactured in their country. Only the goods being manufactured in China, Nigeria alone can consume all of them. And even seek for more assistance from outside. Nigeria has consuming power. And what makes America the hegemony of the world today is consuming power. You can accept it, you may leave it, you can do whatever you like, but you must stick to United States. You can hate America to core, you can try to do away with America, you will try to do away with dollar, but you will stick to United States. Because US is the largest consuming power on planet, followed by Nigeria. Nigeria consume more than China, Nigeria consume more than India. I can remember one Japanese man, they interviewed him in Japan. They produced this wig, this women hair. And the man says, and they asked him how is his business moving and everything. He said, God bless Nigeria. Japanese man, business entrepreneur, said, God bless Nigeria. They asked, how do you mean? He said, because without Nigeria, he will not even have food to eat. He can't even feed his family. Talk less of to have this gigantic company that 85% of all their production is going to Nigeria. And not going to Nigeria once in 6 months. Every blessed day the container is moving and the goods, they keep on demanding. Imagine if Nigeria start producing that wheat, or any other country in Africa start producing that thing. Are we not growing? That money that these guys are pulling out of Africa to their nation, if those money start circulating in Africa, who else will challenge Africa? I would like to advise Nigeria that they should. My brother, this is your message is for Zoo, not Joe John. Did you see anything Biafra here? If you are looking for Biafra, there is Radio Biafra, there is Biafra International, there is a lot of things. Biafra, 1,001 million Biafra outside there. Why must I leave my program and tell you about Biafra? What should I tell you about Biafra? Please, leave. Because of you people, I have left Facebook. Go to Facebook. 1,001 million Biafran issues are going there. I think they are more than enough than me If I want to do anything about Biafra, I will put Biafran headline. I'm talking about something else and you are writing a rubbish here. I don't want it, please. Keep off. If you don't want to listen, you better get out. I don't need it. Now. And stop disrupting what I'm doing. I don't want insult. I don't want anybody to provoke me on that issue. So, on this African development, the African Union have tried enough in terms of bringing themselves together, but there are a lot of job, a lot of work. Nigeria need to develop their own something like SWIFT. If you come to Europe, they have the means of transferring money within themselves. If they are doing business in Europe, they call it SWIFT. European Union has SWIFT. And that SWIFT today, they develop it for their own business. But today, the entire planet are using SWIFT. If you want to transfer money all over the world, in a twinkle of an eye, you use SWIFT. Africa country got to build SWIFT technology. Develop their own technology, develop their infrastructure. African Union need to has what they call database, has to has what they call supercomputer. Look, these guys, well, I know that you guys are coming gradually, but before rushing into signing an agreement, there are things Africans should start putting on the ground before rushing into agreement. There are backbones, because if you build a house without a foundation, it will fall. It will collapse. And to avoid that collapsing is to develop the institutions that will... Look, Europe, German has put in their system of government into Europe. European government, European Union is now running like a human organ. There is no captain. Like in Germany, you remember that they did election in Germany, and it took German government almost 6 months to form a government. But if you come to German, everything is running perfectly. Everything is running. Even, let me tell you, German may be running without a leader. Take it or you leave it. Germans set their country. These leaders you are seeing are foreign policy makers, people who negotiate for them. But the government itself, oh my God. Oh my God! It's an organ. It's a human organ. It's like a intelligent computer that runs everything. The citizen doesn't even remember that they doesn't have a full government for 6 months. If it's in Nigeria, everything will be stocked. There will be no importation. There will be no dollar. Everything will stock, because Nigeria depends everything on human. The German built their system with a leader, without a leader. The system will be functioning perfectly without anybody interfering. Everything, allocation, we are going as normal. Not because of president have not swept in. We have not reached budget. We doesn't know how the market will react. Not in German. Not in German. Why should you be reading budget again? The system has made everything. Everything takes its shape. Everything runs normal. That is what Africans should start first of all. Establishing themselves. How many supercomputers does Nigeria has? Does Nigeria has permanent electricity? No. How many African countries has permanent electricity? There are necessary things that they should put in order before rushing into agreement. But they have already signed the agreement. It's also a good move. But they should start drawing a strong architect. Not sitting down, waiting the day China will come and do this one for them. Waiting when free money will come and lobby them to do this one. Waiting for France to give them bribe. You should not accept this one. Like all the African countries that are being colonized by France. You are rushing into a free trade agreement. Where do you place your central banks? Where is the central banks of African, French countries in African continent? All their central bank is in France. Are you going to run African affairs in France? If Africa is about to develop their SWIFT, it then means the SWIFT for the French-speaking side must surely pass through France before it will come back to Africa. These things are what I'm telling you. Those mechanisms, there are things that should be dismantled. There are things that should be established. But anything connecting to their colonial master got to be withdrawn, and you have to be independent. And Nigeria and South Africa, I am using this opportunity to tell you, stand your ground, don't move. But I use the word but, South Africa and Nigeria should open door for bilateral agreement, form a very strong ally, draw an architect that will develop Africa and interconnect Africa through business and otherwise. God bless you. Remain blessed. If you have any question or you have anything to add, you may call the line now, or if you doesn't want, let the music play a little, then I will tell you people see you soon. But let's dance a little.
I'm not here for a pleasure trip. I'm only here for a business trip. Sing us a song, only song can do, my love. Please sing us a song, only song can do. I used to many honeys and that's not what I'm looking for. I kissed too many lips and that's not what I'm looking for. All I want is not for plenty of money for my family. I'm not here for a pleasure trip. I'm only here for a business trip. Espero, olaga, igesola. Espero, olaga, igesola. Espero, olaga, igesola. Joe, you're not here for a pleasure trip, that is true. You're only here for a business trip.
So Africa should mean business in terms of this trade agreement and opening borders. I believe that South Africa and Nigeria are going to play a very powerful role in this move. If two of them doesn't work together, then Africa is bound to fail. But they should take a leading role in drafting and constructing Africa to suit them and suit other parts of Africa. God bless you. Remain blessed. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. God be with you. The line is open. You may call me later if you feel like. So bye-bye for now. And remain blessed.
Please sing us a song, only song can do, my love. Please sing us a song, only song can do. Please help. I had a landlady when I was at the new school. I had a landlady when I was at the new school. me to be her boyfriend, but I said, Mama, you're too fat for it to donate if you happen to see my landlady. She proud at my room. Fat as the cow. Fat as the cow, baby. Fat as the cow. Fat as the cow. And her waist 44, chest 44, legs 44. She's 44 years old. She's sat like a Humpty Dumpty at the bedroom floor. Mama, fat as the cow. Fat as the cow. Fat as the cow. Fat as the cow. Oh, yeah. Honestly, Joe, what are you talking about? Really, if you see my